The second book of Chronicles, chapter 23. In the 7th year Jehoiada waxed bold, and took the captains of hundreds, to wit, Azariah the son of Joraham, and Ishmael the son of Jehohanan, and Azariah the son of Obed, and Maaseiah the son of Adiah, and Elishaphat the son of Zichri, in covenant with him. And they went about in Judah, and gathered of the Levites out of all the cities of Judah, and the chief fathers of Israel, and they came to Jerusalem. And all the congregation made a covenant with the king in the house of God. And he said unto them, Behold, the king's son must reign, as the Lord hath said of the sons of David. This is that ye should do. The third part of you that come on the Sabbath of the priests and of the Levites shall be porters of the doors, and another third part toward the king's house, and another third part at the gate of the foundation, and all the people shall be in the courts of the house of the Lord. But let none come into the house of the Lord, save the priests and the Levites that minister. They shall go in, for they are holy, but all the people shall keep the watch of the Lord. And the Levites shall compass the king round about, and every man with his weapon is in his hand. And he that entereth into the house shall be slain, and be with you the king when he cometh in, and when he goeth out. So the Levites and all Judah did according to all the things that Jehoiada the priest had commanded, and took every man his men that came in on the Sabbath, with them that went out on the Sabbath. For Jehoiada the priest did not discharge the courses. And Jehoiada the priest delivered to the captains of the hundreds spears and shields and bucklers, which had been King David's, and were in the house of God. And he caused all the people to stand, every man with his weapon in his hand, from the right side of the house to the left side of the house, by the altar and by the house round about the king. Then they brought out the king's son, and put upon him the crown, and gave him the testimony, and made him king. And Jehoiada and his sons anointed him, and said, God save the king. But when Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and praising the king, she came to the people of the house, and into the house of the Lord. And when she looked, and behold, the king stood by his pillar at the entering in, and the princes and the trumpets by the king, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and blew the trumpets. And the singers were with the instruments of music, and they that could sing praise. Then Athaliah rent her clothes, and said, Treason, treason. Then Jehoiada the priest brought out the captains of hundreds that were governors of the host, and said unto them, Have her forth of the ranges, and he that followeth her, let him die by the sword. For the priest had said, Slay her not in the house of the Lord. So they laid hands on her, and when she was come to the entering of the horse gate by the king's house, they slew her there. And Jehoiada made a covenant between him and all the people, and the king, that they would be the Lord's people. And all the people went to the house of Baal, and destroyed and brake his altars and his images, and slew Matan the priest of Baal before the altars. And Jehoiada appointed officers for the house of the Lord, under the hands of the priests and Levites, whom David had distributed for the house of the Lord, to offer burnt sacrifices unto the Lord, as it is written in the law of Moses, with rejoicing and singing, by the appointment of David. And he set porters by the gates of the house of the Lord, that none that was unclean in anything should enter in. And he took the captains of hundreds, and the noble men, and the governors of the people, and all the people of the land, and he caused the king to come down out of the house of the Lord. And they went through the high gate of the king's house, and set the king upon the throne of the kingdom. Then all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was quiet after that they had slain Athaliah with the sword. 2 Chronicles chapter 24. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zibiah of Beersheba, And Joash did uprightly in the sight of the Lord all the days of Jehoiada the priest. And Jehoiada took him 2 wives, and he begat sons and daughters. And afterward it came into Joash's mind to renew the house of the Lord. And he assembled the priests and the Levites, and said to them, Go out into the cities of Judah, and gather of all Israel money to repair the house of God from year to year, and haste the thing. But the Levites hasted not. Therefore the king called Jehoiada the chief, and said unto him, Why hast thou not required of the Levites to bring in out of Judah and Jerusalem the tax of Moses, the servant of the Lord, and of the congregation of Israel, for the tabernacle of the testimony? For wicked Athaliah and her children break up the house of God, and all the things that were dedicated for the house of the Lord did they bestow on Baal. Therefore the king commanded, and they made a chest, and set it at the gate of the house of the Lord without. And they made proclamation through Judah and Jerusalem to bring unto the Lord the tax of Moses, the servant of God, which he laid upon Israel in the wilderness. And all the princes and all the people rejoiced, and brought in, and cast into the chest, until they had finished. And when it was time, they brought the chest into the king's officer by the hand of the Levites. And when they saw that there was much silver, then the king's scribe, and one appointed by the high priest, came and emptied the chest, and took it, and carried it to his place again. Thus they did day by day, and gathered silver in abundance. And the king and Jehoiada gave it to such as did the labor and work in the house of the Lord, and hired masons and carpenters to repair the house of the Lord. They gave it also to workers of iron and brass to repair the house of the Lord. So the workmen wrought, and the work amended through their hands, and they restored the house of God to his state, and strengthened it. When they had finished it, they brought the rest of the silver before the king and Jehoiada, and he made thereof vessels for the house of the Lord, even vessels to minister, both mortars and incense cups, and vessels of gold and of silver. And they offered burnt offerings in the house of the Lord continually all the days of Jehoiada. But Jehoiada waxed old, and was full of days, and died. 130 years old was he when he died. And they buried him in the city of David with the kings, because he had done good in Israel, and toward God and his house. And after the death of Jehoiada, the princes of Judah did reverence to the king, and the king hearkened unto them. And they left the house of the Lord God of their fathers, and served groves and idols. And wrath came upon Judah and Jerusalem because of this their trespass. And God sent prophets among them to bring them again unto the Lord. And they made protestation among them, but they would not hear. And the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah the son of Jehoiada the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, Thus saith God, Why transgress ye the commandments of the Lord? Surely ye shall not prosper, because ye have forsaken the Lord, he also hath forsaken you. Then they conspired against him, and stoned him with stones, at the commandment of the king, in the court of the house of the Lord. Thus Joash the king remembered not the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done to him, but slew his son. And when he died, he said, The Lord look upon it, and require it. When the year was out, the host of Aram came up against them. And they came against Judah and Jerusalem, and destroyed all the princes of the people from among the people, and sent all the spoil of them unto the king of Damascus. Though the army of Aram came with a small company of men, yet the Lord delivered a very great army into their hand, because they had forsaken the Lord God of their fathers. And they gave sentence against Joash. And when they departed from him, for they left him in great diseases, his own servants conspired against him for the blood of the children of Jehoiada the priest, and slew him on his bed, and he died. And they buried him in the city of David, but they buried him not in the sepulchres of the kings. And these are they that conspired against him, Zabad the son of Shimroth, an Ammonitess, and Jehozabad the son of Shimrith, the Moabitess. But his sons and the sum of the tax gathered by him, and the foundation of the house of God, behold, they are written in the story of the book of the kings, and Amaziah his son reigned in his stead. II Chronicles chapter 25. Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jehoiadim of Jerusalem. And he did uprightly in the eyes of the Lord, but not with a perfect heart. And when the kingdom was established unto him, he slew his servants that had slain the king his father, but he slew not their children, but did as it is written in the law, and in the book of Moses, where the Lord commanded, saying, The fathers shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for their fathers, but every man shall die for his own sin. And Amaziah assembled Judah, and made them captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, according to the houses of their fathers, throughout all Judah and Benjamin. And he numbered them from 20 years old and above, and found among them 300,000 chosen men to go forth to the war, and to handle spear and shield. He hired also 100,000 valiant men out of Israel for 100 talents of silver. But a man of God came to him, saying, O king, let not the army of Israel go up with thee, for the Lord is not with Israel, neither with all the house of Ephraim. If not, go thou on, do it, make thyself strong to the battle. But God shall make thee fall before the enemy, for God hath power to help and to cast down. And Amaziah said to the man of God, What shall we do then for the 100 talents, which I have given to the host of Israel? Then this man of God answered, The Lord is able to give thee more than this. So Amaziah separated them, to wit, the army that was come to him out of Ephraim, to return to their place. Wherefore their wrath was kindled greatly against Judah, and they returned to their places with great anger. Then Amaziah was encouraged, and led forth his people, and went to the Salt Valley, and smote of the children of Seir 10,000, and other 10,000 did the children of Judah take alive, and carried them to the top of a rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, and they all burst to pieces. But the men of the army which Amaziah sent away, that they should not go with his people to battle, fell upon the cities of Judah, from Samaria into Beth-horon, and smote 3,000 of them, and took much spoil. Now after that Amaziah was come from the slaughter of the Edomites, and he brought the gods of the children of Seir, and set them up to be his gods, and worshipped them, and burned incense unto them. Wherefore the Lord was wroth with Amaziah, and sent unto him a prophet, which said unto him, Why hast thou sought the gods of the people which were not able to deliver their own people out of thine hand? And as he talked with him, he said unto him, Have they made thee the king's counselor? Cease thou, why should they smite thee? And the prophet ceased, but said, I know that God hath determined to destroy thee, because thou hast done this, and hast not obeyed my counsel. Then Amaziah king of Judah took counsel, and sent to Joash the son of Jehoahaz, the son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, Come, let us see one another in the face. But Joash king of Israel sent to Amaziah king of Judah, saying, The thistle that is in Lebanon sent to the cedar that is in Lebanon, saying, Give thy daughter to my son to wife. And the wild beast that was in Lebanon went and trode down the thistle. Thou thinkest, Lo, thou hast smitten Edom, and thine heart lifted thee up to brag. Abide now at home. Why dost thou provoke to thine hurt, that thou shouldest fall, and Judah with thee? But Amaziah would not hear, for it was of God that he might deliver them into his hand, because they sought the gods of Edom. So Joash the king of Israel went up, and he and Amaziah king of Judah saw one another in the face at Beth-shemesh, which is in Judah. And Judah was put to the worse before Israel, and they fled every man to his tents. But Joash the king of Israel took Amaziah king of Judah, the son of Joash, the son of Jehoahaz, in Beth-shemesh, and brought him to Jerusalem, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem, from the gate of Ephraim unto the corner gate, 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and silver, and all the vessels that were found in the house of God, with Obed-Edom, and in the treasures of the king's house, and the children that were in hostage, and returned to Samaria. And Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, lived after the death of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, 15 years. Concerning the rest of the acts of Amaziah, first and last, are they not written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel? Now after the time that Amaziah did turn away from the Lord, they wrought treason against him in Jerusalem. And when he was fled to Lachish, they sent to Lachish after him, and slew him there. And they brought him upon horses, and buried him with his fathers in the city of Judah.